As a powerlifting coach, you can assume that I have seen a lot of mistakes from my athletes, and here are the top 5. I'm going to start with number 5 and count down to the number 1 mistake. So stay tuned for that. Number 5, thinking that they can do everything on their own. This means everything from programming themselves, hitting all their training sessions, signing up for competitions, planning out their competition year, planning out their supplements and their diet. Everything is done through them. And I understand that to a certain degree, but at the same time, you have not learned enough as a beginner powerlifter or have the experience to know what to do whenever things go badly. Know how to progress on your own in the gym space, which is great, and that's a great skill to have. But whenever you have injuries or plateaus or anything in between, there's no person to kind of vent to, and it can leave you being inside your head a lot, and it can leave you with just some nasty thoughts about yourself or your training or your program or whatever, and it is not good for you. So hire a coach, follow a good program. There's a bunch of good, cheap, or free programs out there that will get you great progress and can kind of get you out of your head a little bit. Number 4 is not taking the time to learn from other people in the sport. I think a lot of people see someone powerlifting on Instagram or YouTube and think, wow, that looks really cool. Or they go to a gym that there's powerlifters and they just hop right into it. And that's great. I love the ambition. I love that attitude. But then they never learn from the people around them. They never take the time to ask questions. They never take the time to talk about training modalities or programming or why this person chose to do this instead of this. They just kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm going to start doing that, and then start doing it instead of breaking down why people do certain things and how other people could help them around them. Powerlifting is great. There's a lot of great people in it. There's also some shitty people in it that you're going to encounter. That's just life, unfortunately. But the majority of people in the sport are phenomenal, and they're willing to help you out. Hit up people on Instagram. Hit up coaches on Instagram. I know, me personally, anytime I get a DM, I am happy to answer it. I'm not going to charge you for me answering a question from you. Like, what? That doesn't make sense. And hopefully my free advice leads you to one day wanting to coach and choosing me. That's how all the other coaches think as well, or at least the good coaches. So ask questions with people in your gym, ask other coaches online, ask other athletes online. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Number 3 is not competing the correct amount of times. I see this with people who are in like that intermediate to advanced level even, of people just competing like 4, 5 times a year. That's crazy. They either compete 3, 4, 5, 6 times a year, or they compete like once a year. There's no in between with powerlifters. You either meet a beginner that competed 6 times, or you meet a beginner that has not competed more than twice. And there's just like no perfect balance with beginners. I understand that you're super excited to train and you're super excited to compete. That's why we do it. But keep competitions to like max 4 times a year, and that's if you have a specific goal and a specific deadline to meet. But 2 to 3 competitions for powerlifters works just fine. Number 2, we are getting close to that number 1 spot. This is probably right there with it, and that is not sticking to a program. What I call program hopping or coach hopping. This is what happens. A new powerlifter starts powerlifting on their own. They like squat, they like bench, they like deadlift, they want to compete. So they follow a West Side barbell program for 1 block. And then after that block, they hop to a PDF program that their other friend uses. And then they hop to a PRS free program. Stick to one program for like 3 or 4 blocks, or stick to a coach for 3 or 4 blocks at least. The amount of people who get a coach and then don't like one thing about them and then just fire them is insane, especially whenever it gets time to competition and the athlete doesn't follow the correct things that the coach programmed, and then the coach gets fired because the athlete didn't perform well in competition. It's your fault as the athlete, not the coach's fault. Follow a program, stick to it, stick to a coach if they're a good one. I understand that there's bad coaches out there, and try to stick with it for like 3, 4, 5 blocks. That's what these programs are designed to do, to make you progress over the course of 1 block, 2 block, 3 block, not you do 1 block and then go to a different program. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. Stick to a freaking program, please. And the number one mistake I see from beginner powerlifters is focusing too much on the outcomes of training and not focusing on enjoying training. You are going to train way more than you compete, ever. You train about 4 to 5 to 6 days a week, and you compete 3 to 4 days a year. Focus on the process, have fun in your training, make training fun, make short-term and long-term goals to keep you motivated, and progress that way. Do not get hyper-focused on being able to squat, bench, deadlift X amount. That's not going to work. You're going to get discouraged whenever you don't reach that, or whenever you get injured, or whenever you get fatigued or something. So dial in, focus on the training, have fun with training, get a coach that makes training fun, follow a program that makes training fun, anything that you have to do to make training as enjoyable as possible and for you to stick around in the sport as long as possible. I have really been enjoying filming these super quick and easy videos to pump out as much information to you all as I can. Let me know in the comments down below how you enjoy it. Hit like, hit subscribe, and I will see you all on Tuesday. Deuces.